What if the key to inner peace doesn't lie in changing the world around you, but in shifting how you see it? These words, spoken by the great Stoic philosopher, remind us that true strength comes from within. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This timeless wisdom isn't just ancient philosophy. It's a practical guide for navigating the chaos of modern life. Inner peace isn't about escaping challenges or avoiding discomfort. It's about transforming how we respond to them. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. Over the next few minutes, we'll explore 25 powerful Stoic mindset shifts, actionable principles that can help you cultivate unshakable inner peace, no matter what life throws your way. These aren't abstract ideas. They're tools you can use right now to build resilience, clarity, and calm in your everyday life. So if you're ready to take control of your thoughts and find strength within yourself, let's begin this journey together. Stoicism teaches us to distinguish between what we can and cannot control. This principle, known as the Dichotomy of Control, is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It's not just a theoretical idea. It's a practical tool for navigating life's challenges with clarity and calm. Imagine you're stuck in a traffic jam. You can't control the cars around you, the red lights, or the delays. But what you can control is how you respond. Do you let frustration take over, or do you choose to stay composed, using the time to reflect or listen to something meaningful? That choice is yours, and it's where your power lies. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's great teachers, put it simply: some things are in our control and others are not. When we focus on what's within our control, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, we reclaim agency over our lives. When we try to control what's outside our control, other people's opinions, the weather, or the past, we set ourselves up for stress and disappointment. It's not about giving up on life's challenges. It's about directing your energy where it truly matters. Take a moment to think about your own life. Are there areas where you're trying to control the uncontrollable? Maybe it's a relationship, a work situation, or even your own expectations. By recognizing what's beyond your influence, you free yourself from unnecessary struggle. And by focusing on what you can change, you empower yourself to take meaningful action. This shift in perspective doesn't just bring peace, it brings progress. The dichotomy of control isn't about passivity, it's about purposeful living. And that's where unshakable inner peace begins. The concept of literally translated as love of fate might sound simple at first, but its depth has resonated with thinkers across centuries. While the philosopher Nietzsche is often credited with popularizing the term, its roots trace back to Stoicism, where it served as a cornerstone for cultivating resilience and inner peace. Nietzsche famously said, "My formula for greatness in a human being is that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity." But what does it truly mean to love your fate, and how can this mindset transform the way we navigate life's challenges? At its core is about embracing everything life throws at you, the good, the bad, and the seemingly unbearable, not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. The Stoics believed that fate is not something to resist or resent, but to accept and even cherish. One of Stoicism's most famous practitioners put it beautifully: accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. This isn't about passive resignation. It's about active engagement with life, finding meaning in every twist and turn. Think of it this way: life is like a river. You can fight against the current, exhausting yourself in the process, or you can learn to navigate its flow, using its momentum to carry you forward. The challenges we face, whether it's a job loss, a difficult relationship, or an unexpected setback, are part of that flow. By viewing them as opportunities rather than burdens, we can begin to shift our perspective. What if that job loss opens the door to a more fulfilling career? What if that difficult relationship teaches you a lesson in patience or boundaries? Even in the darkest moments, there's potential for growth and transformation. Here's a question to reflect on. What challenge in your life could you start viewing as a gift? It might not feel like one right now, but by shifting your mindset, you can begin to see how even the most difficult experiences can shape you into a stronger, wiser version of yourself. This is the essence of not just accepting your fate, but loving it, knowing that every moment, no matter how tough, is an integral part of your journey. By embracing this Stoic principle, you're not just enduring life, you're thriving in it, finding peace in the knowledge that every experience, good or bad, is a thread in the fabric of your story. And when you learn to love that story, you unlock a profound sense of inner calm, no matter what comes your way. Stoics believe that contemplating death is the key to living fully. At first glance, this might sound counterintuitive or even unsettling. Why would thinking about something as final as death help us live better? But here's the paradox. By acknowledging the inevitability of death, we gain clarity on what truly matters. This is the essence of memento, a Latin phrase that means, remember you must die. It's not about dwelling on the morbid or the tragic. It's about using the awareness of life's finitude to sharpen our focus and live with intention. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it this way: let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. What he's saying is profound. When we imagine our lives as finite, we stop wasting time on trivialities. The petty arguments, the endless distractions, the fear of failure, they all start to lose their grip on us. Why? Because when you realize that time is your most precious resource, you stop squandering it on things that don't align with your values or purpose. Think about it this way. If today were your last day, would you spend it scrolling through social media, worrying about what others think of you, or chasing things that don't truly fulfill you? Probably not. You'd focus on what's meaningful, your relationships, your passions, your growth. That's the power of memento. It's a mental tool that strips away the noise and helps us see what's essential. Here's a practical way to apply this principle. Each morning, take a moment to reflect on your mortality. It doesn't have to be a long meditation, just a few seconds to remind yourself that today is a gift. This simple practice can shift your mindset, helping you approach the day with gratitude and purpose. Instead of fearing failure, you'll see it as part of the journey. Instead of procrastinating, you'll take action. Because when you remember that life is fleeting, you're inspired to make the most of it. This isn't about living in fear of death. It's about living in reverence for life. By embracing memento, we free ourselves from the trivial and step into a life of deeper meaning and unshakable peace. What if you imagined losing what you value most? Your job, your relationships, or even your health? At first, this might sound unsettling, but this practice, known as negative visualization, is one of the most powerful tools in Stoic philosophy to cultivate gratitude and resilience. The idea isn't to dwell on fear or pessimism, but to prepare your mind for life's uncertainties, and in doing so, deepen your appreciation for what you have. As Seneca once said, "He who is brave in enduring adversity is truly great." By facing the possibility of loss head-on, you train yourself to respond to challenges with strength rather than fear. Let's take a modern example. Imagine you suddenly lose your job. Instead of spiraling into anxiety, you've already mentally rehearsed this scenario. You've visualized the steps you'd take next, updating your resume, reaching out to your network, or even exploring a new career path. This mental preparation doesn't just reduce the sting of the unexpected. It empowers you to act decisively when life throws a curveball. And here's the beautiful part. Once you've walked through that worst-case scenario in your mind, you return to the present with a renewed sense of gratitude for the stability you currently enjoy. You realize how much you've taken for granted, and that awareness becomes a source of inner peace. So how can you apply this in your own life? Start small. Take a moment each day to reflect on something you cherish, your home, your loved ones, or even your morning cup of coffee. Then briefly imagine what life would be like without it. Notice how this exercise shifts your perspective. Instead of focusing on what's missing, you begin to see the abundance already present in your life. Over time, this practice builds emotional resilience, helping you face challenges with calm clarity. It's not about expecting the worst. It's about preparing for it so you can meet whatever comes your way with grace and gratitude. Stoicism teaches us to detach from our emotions to see situations clearly. But let's pause here. Detachment doesn't mean ignoring or suppressing what you feel. It's about creating a space between you and your emotions, allowing you to observe them without being swept away. Think of it like watching a storm from a window. You see the rain, you hear the thunder, but you're not out there getting drenched. You're safe, observing, and understanding the storm without being overwhelmed by it. This is where Epictetus's wisdom comes into play. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In other words, life will throw challenges at you, some big, some small, but your power lies in how you respond. Emotional detachment gives you the clarity to choose your response rather than being carried away by the first wave of feeling. So how often do your emotions cloud your judgment? It's a question worth reflecting on. Maybe you felt anger bubbling up during a disagreement or anxiety taking over before a big decision. These emotions are natural, but when they dominate, they can distort your perspective. Cognitive detachment helps you step back, breathe, and ask yourself, is this reaction serving me or is it holding me back? By practicing this mindset shift, you're not denying your humanity. You're simply refusing to let your emotions dictate your actions. It's a skill, and like any skill, it takes time to develop. But the more you practice, the more you'll find yourself responding to life's challenges with calm clarity rather than reactive chaos. Picture this. You're floating far above the earth, gazing down at the vast expanse of blue oceans, swirling clouds, and the intricate patchwork of land. From this incredible vantage point, everything that once felt overwhelming, your deadlines, disagreements, or daily frustrations, suddenly seems so small, almost insignificant. This is the essence of the Stoic exercise known as the view from above, a powerful tool for gaining perspective and cultivating humility. One of Stoicism's greatest thinkers once reflected, think of the universe as one living being with one substance and one soul. His words remind us that we are all interconnected, part of something much larger than ourselves. When we take a step back, even metaphorically, to see the bigger picture, our struggles lose their grip on us. They don't vanish, but they become more manageable, more human in scale. The beauty of this practice lies in its simplicity. You don't need to physically travel to space to benefit from it. The next time you're caught in a moment of stress or conflict, pause and visualize yourself rising above the situation. See the world as a whole, not just your corner of it. Notice how your problems, while real and valid, are just one tiny thread in the grand tapestry of existence. This shift in perspective doesn't dismiss your feelings. It puts them in context, helping you respond with clarity rather than react with emotion. What's remarkable about the view from above is how it nurtures humility. It reminds us that we're not the center of the universe, that our challenges, while important to us, are fleeting in the grand scheme of things. This isn't meant to diminish your experiences, but to free you from the weight of overthinking or over-identifying with them. By embracing this mindset, you can approach life with a lighter heart and a steadier mind. knowing that even the most turbulent moments are just small ripples in the vast ocean of existence. What if you plan for the worst-case scenario? It might sound counterintuitive, but this is exactly what the Stoic practice of encourages. Translated as the premeditation of evils, it's not about dwelling on negativity or inviting fear. It's about building mental resilience by envisioning potential challenges before they arise. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "The wise man looks ahead and prepares for what may come." And this preparation, this mental rehearsal, is what helps you face life's uncertainties with calm and clarity. Think of it like this. When you anticipate a difficult situation, you're not caught off guard. Instead, you've already walked through it in your mind, considered the possible outcomes, and even planned how you might respond. This doesn't mean you're expecting the worst to happen. It means you're ready for whatever happens. For instance, imagine you're about to have a tough conversation with a loved one. By mentally preparing for different reactions, you're less likely to be overwhelmed by emotions in the moment. You've already thought through your responses, which allows you to stay composed and focused. The beauty of it is that it reduces the power of fear. When you've already faced a scenario in your mind, it loses its ability to shock or control you. This practice isn't just theoretical, it's a tool you can use in everyday life. Whether it's preparing for a job interview, a health scare, or even a financial setback, this Stoic mindset helps you approach challenges with a sense of readiness rather than dread. It's not about pessimism, it's about empowerment. By preparing for adversity, you're building the inner strength to handle whatever comes your way. The Stoics held an unshakable belief. Virtue is the highest good. Not wealth, not fame, not even external comforts. These are all fleeting, subject to change at any moment. What lasts, what truly matters, is the quality of your character. Virtue, in the Stoic view, is the foundation of a meaningful life. It's about cultivating wisdom to see the world clearly, courage to face challenges head-on, and justice to act with fairness and integrity, no matter the circumstances. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This is the heart of Stoic philosophy. Freedom isn't about having more options or fewer constraints. It's about mastering your own mind and aligning your actions with what is truly good. When you live in harmony with virtue, you're no longer tossed around by the whims of fortune or the opinions of others. You find a deeper, unshakable sense of peace because your worth isn't tied to things outside your control. Think about how you define success. Is it measured by what you have or by who you are? The Stoics challenge us to shift our perspective. True success isn't about accumulating wealth or climbing social ladders. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. It's about living with purpose, guided by principles that stand the test of time. When you focus on virtue, you stop chasing external validation and start building something that no one can take away: your character. This doesn't mean dismissing material comfort or ambition entirely. It's about understanding their place. Wealth, status, and achievements are tools, not goals. They can be used wisely, but they should never define you. When you make virtue your highest aim, everything else falls into its proper place. You're no longer controlled by fear of loss or desire for more. Instead, you're free to live with clarity, courage, and compassion. So ask yourself, what would it look like to prioritize virtue in your daily life? How could wisdom, courage, and justice guide your decisions? These aren't just philosophical ideas, they're practical tools for creating a life of meaning and peace. The Stoics remind us that the path to true freedom begins within. Master yourself, and you'll find that nothing outside of you can ever truly shake your inner calm. How often do you accept thoughts as truth without questioning them? It's easy to let our minds run on autopilot, taking every thought or judgment at face value. But Stoicism invites us to pause and ask, is this really true? This is where the discipline of Ascent comes into play. It's about taking a step back to critically evaluate the thoughts and judgments that shape our perception of the world. As once wrote, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Think about that for a moment. So much of what we believe about ourselves, others, and the world isn't an absolute truth, but rather an interpretation. The discipline of Ascent teaches us to slow down and examine these interpretations before we let them dictate our emotions or actions. For example, if someone criticizes you, your immediate thought might be, "I'm not good enough." But pause. Is that thought a fact, or is it just your mind's knee-jerk reaction? By practicing this discipline, you create a mental gap between what happens and how you respond. That gap is where your power lies. It's the space where you can choose to reject unhelpful thoughts and replace them with more constructive ones. Here's a question to reflect on. What belief about yourself might be holding you back? Maybe it's the idea that you're not capable of achieving a goal or that you're defined by past mistakes. The discipline of Ascent challenges you to question these beliefs. Are they based on facts, or are they just opinions, perhaps even ones you've? By learning to withhold your automatic assent to negative or limiting thoughts, you free yourself from their grip. This practice isn't about denying reality, it's about refining how you interpret it. And in doing so, you take a significant step toward unshakable inner peace. We often chase happiness as if it's something we can catch, something just out of reach. But the Stoics offer a different perspective, one that invites us to stop chasing and start finding. They teach us that contentment isn't something we acquire, it's something we cultivate within ourselves, right here, in the present moment. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." Think about that for a moment. How much of your energy is spent worrying about what's next, or longing for something you don't yet have? The Stoic approach flips this script. It asks us to focus on what's already here, to find peace in the simplicity of now. This mindset shift isn't just philosophical, it's deeply practical. When we stop seeking validation from external sources, whether it's approval from others, material possessions, or achievements, we free ourselves from a cycle of endless wanting. Contentment becomes less about what we lack and more about what we already possess. And the key to unlocking this? Gratitude. It's not about ignoring life's challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about training yourself to see the good, even in the ordinary. Here's a simple way to start. Each day, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. It could be as small as the warmth of sunlight on your skin, or as profound as the love of someone close to you. Over time, this practice rewires your mind to focus on abundance rather than scarcity. It's not about denying your desires or ambitions, but about finding peace in the journey rather than tying your happiness to the destination. Contentment, after all, isn't a finish line, it's a way of walking through life. There's a story from ancient Rome about the Stoic philosopher Seneca, who once wrote to a friend about the value of silence. He described how, during a particularly turbulent time in his life, he chose to retreat from the noise of the city and spend days in quiet reflection. It was in those moments of stillness, he said, that he found clarity and strength. This wasn't just about avoiding distractions. It was about understanding the power of silence as a tool for self-mastery. The Stoics believed that silence wasn't empty, it was full of potential. It was a space where you could hear your own thoughts, untangle your emotions, and reconnect with what truly mattered. Epictetus, another great Stoic teacher, put it simply, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This isn't just a clever observation. It's a practical reminder of how we often get in our own way by talking too much. Think about it. How many times have you said something in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? or found yourself caught in a cycle of meaningless chatter, filling the air with words that don't serve you or anyone else. The Stoics saw this as a kind of self-sabotage. When we speak without thinking, we give away our peace of mind. But when we choose silence, even for a moment, we take back control. Silence isn't just about holding your tongue, it's about creating space. Space to listen, to observe, to understand. When you stop filling every moment with words, you start to notice things you might have missed. The tone in someone's voice, the subtle shifts in your own emotions, the quiet wisdom that comes from simply being present. This is where inner peace begins. It's not something you find outside yourself. It's something you cultivate within by stepping away from the noise and allowing yourself to just be. So how can you start practicing this in your own life? Begin by paying attention to your speech habits. Do you talk to fill awkward silences? Do you feel the need to always have the last word? These are small but meaningful patterns that reveal how much we rely on words to navigate the world. Next, seek out moments of silence. It doesn't have to be hours of meditation. It can be as simple as turning off the radio during your commute or sitting quietly for 5 minutes before bed. Use these moments to listen, not just to the world around you, but to yourself. What are your thoughts trying to tell you? What emotions are bubbling beneath the surface? Silence has a way of bringing these things to light, giving you the clarity you need to move forward with intention. The Stoics knew that silence wasn't a sign of weakness, it was a sign of strength. It takes courage to step back from the noise, to resist the urge to fill every moment with sound. But when you do, you'll find something extraordinary, a deeper connection to yourself and a sense of calm that no amount of words can provide. So the next time you feel the urge to speak, pause, listen, and let the power of silence guide you toward unshakable inner peace. Let's turn our attention to the practice of equanimity, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. Equanimity is the ability to remain calm and composed, no matter the situation. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine when it's not. Instead, it's about cultivating a steady mind, one that doesn't get swept away by the highs or dragged down by the lows. Think of it as an anchor in the storm, keeping you grounded even when life's waves threaten to pull you under. The Stoic emperor once said, "You always own the option of having no opinion." This is a powerful reminder that we don't have to react to every event or judgment that comes our way. Often, the turmoil we feel isn't caused by the situation itself, but by our interpretation of it. By choosing not to form an immediate opinion, we create space, a moment of clarity where we can respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This is the essence of equanimity. So how does this play out in real life? Imagine you're stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. Your instinct might be to get frustrated, to honk the horn, or to curse the situation. But what if instead you took a deep breath and reminded yourself that this is outside your control? What if you used that time to focus on what you can control? Your breathing, your mindset, your next steps. That shift in perspective is equanimity in action. It's not about ignoring the problem, but about facing it with a calm and steady mind. Here's a question to reflect on. How do you typically react to unexpected challenges? Do you find yourself getting caught up in the heat of the moment, or do you pause and assess before responding? The truth is, life will always throw curveballs, some minor, some major. But with equanimity, you can meet them all with the same level of composure. It's not about being unfeeling, it's about being unshakable. And that, my friends, is where true inner peace begins. What can we learn from observing nature's cycles? For the Stoics, nature wasn't just a backdrop to life, it was a profound teacher. They believed that by studying the rhythms and patterns of the natural world, we could uncover timeless wisdom about how to live in harmony with the universe. Seneca once wrote, "Follow nature, and you will never be poor." At first glance, this might sound poetic, but when you dig deeper, it's a powerful reminder that nature offers us everything we need to cultivate inner peace and resilience. Think about it, nature operates without resistance. Seasons change, trees shed their leaves, and rivers flow effortlessly around obstacles. There's no struggle, no overthinking, just a constant, purposeful movement forward. The Stoics saw this as a model for human behavior. When life throws challenges our way, instead of resisting or fighting against them, we can learn to adapt and flow just as nature does. But how do we apply this in our modern, fast-paced lives? The answer lies in reconnecting with the natural world, even in small ways. Start with something as simple as taking a daily walk outside. Pay attention to the way the wind rustles through the trees or how the sunlight filters through the leaves. These moments of mindful observation can ground us, reminding us of the bigger picture and our place within it. Another practical step is to reflect on the cycles of nature in your own life. Just as winter gives way to spring, difficult times eventually pass, making way for growth and renewal. By aligning ourselves with these natural rhythms, we can cultivate patience, acceptance, and a deeper sense of peace. Nature doesn't rush, yet everything gets done, a lesson we could all stand to learn. So the next time you feel overwhelmed or disconnected, step outside. Let the simplicity and wisdom of the natural world guide you back to balance. After all, as the Stoics taught, nature is not just something we live in. It's something we can learn from every single day. Stoics believed in voluntarily embracing discomfort to build resilience. It's a mindset shift that might sound counterintuitive at first. Why would anyone choose to endure hardship when comfort is so readily available? But here's the truth. Comfort, while pleasant, can become a crutch. When we rely too heavily on it, we grow fragile, less adaptable to life's inevitable challenges. The Stoics understood this deeply. By practicing self-denial, we train ourselves to face difficulty head-on, not with fear or avoidance, but with strength and composure. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." And he's right. Resilience isn't built overnight. It's cultivated through consistent, deliberate effort. Think of it like strengthening a muscle. You wouldn't expect to lift heavy weights without first starting small and gradually building your capacity. The same principle applies to the mind. By embracing small acts of self-denial, you prepare yourself to handle life's bigger trials with grace. So what does this look like in practice? It could be as simple as skipping dessert, taking a cold shower, or fasting for a day. These aren't punishments. They're opportunities to remind yourself that you're capable of more than your cravings or impulses might suggest. Each time you choose discomfort over convenience, you're reinforcing your inner strength and reducing your dependency on external comforts. This practice isn't about denying yourself joy or living a life of austerity. It's about building a foundation of resilience so that when life throws its inevitable curveballs, you're not thrown off balance. You've already trained yourself to endure, adapt, and thrive, no matter the circumstances. And that's where true inner peace begins, not in the absence of challenges, but in the confidence that you can face them unshaken. Who inspires you to live a virtuous life? This isn't just a casual question, it's a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that surrounding yourself with the right influences could shape your character, guide your actions, and help you stay true to your values. They didn't just admire role models from afar. They actively studied their lives, learned from their choices, and used those lessons as a compass for their own behavior. Think about it. When you look at someone you respect, what is it about them that draws you in? Is it their wisdom, their resilience, or the way they handle adversity? These qualities aren't just admirable, they're teachable, and the Stoics knew this well. One of Stoicism's most famous practitioners put it bluntly, Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. He wasn't suggesting we debate the definition of virtue. He was urging us to embody it. And how do we do that? By observing those who already live with integrity and using their example as a blueprint for our own lives. Himself looked to figures like his mentor, and even historical icons like Socrates, not just to admire them, but to learn how to navigate his own challenges with the same grace and strength. So who are the people in your life, or in history, who inspire you to be better? Maybe it's a family member who's shown incredible resilience, a teacher who's guided you with wisdom, or even a historical figure whose legacy continues to resonate. The key is to identify what qualities they possess that align with the kind of person you want to become. Then, take it a step further. Reflect on how you can integrate those traits into your own life. It's not about copying them exactly. It's about letting their example guide your growth. Role models aren't just there to admire from a distance. They're there to challenge us, to show us what's possible, and to remind us that the virtues we aspire to are within reach. Who inspires you to live a life of courage, wisdom, and integrity? Take a moment to think about it, because the answers might just point you toward the person you're meant to become. One of history's most revered Stoic philosophers left behind a powerful tool for self-reflection that remains timeless, his personal journal known as Meditations. Written not for publication but as a private practice, it serves as a profound example of how journaling can help us navigate life's complexities. Through his writings, processed his thoughts, examined his actions, and continually realigned himself with Stoic virtues. And here's the key. He didn't wait for clarity to come to him. He actively sought it by putting pen to paper. This practice wasn't just about recording events. It was about cultivating a deeper understanding of himself and his place in the world. Journaling, as demonstrated, is more than a simple habit. It's a way to untangle the chaos of your mind. When you write down your thoughts, you're forced to slow down, to examine them with intention. It's like holding up a mirror to your inner world, allowing you to see what's truly there. Are your actions aligned with your values? Are you responding to challenges with wisdom or reacting out of emotion? These are the questions journaling helps you answer. Seneca once said, "Each day, acquire something that will fortify you against poverty, against death." Journaling is one of those acquisitions, a daily practice that builds resilience and clarity, helping you face life's uncertainties with steadiness. Starting a journaling habit doesn't have to be complicated. Begin by setting aside just a few minutes each day to reflect. Write about what went well, what challenged you, and how you responded. Did you act with courage? Did you practice patience? The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Over time, you'll start to notice patterns, moments where you thrived and moments where you stumbled. And that's where the real growth happens. By reflecting on your day, you're not just documenting events. You're actively shaping your mindset, reinforcing Stoic principles, and building a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Think of your journal as a conversation with your future self. What advice would you give to someone facing the same challenges? What lessons have you learned that you want to remember? This practice isn't just about looking back, it's about preparing for what's ahead. As you write, you're creating a roadmap for the person you're becoming, one entry at a time. And the beauty of it, it's entirely yours. No rules, no judgments, just you, your thoughts, and the opportunity to grow. So why not start today? Grab a notebook, find a quiet moment, and let the words flow. You might be surprised at what you discover about yourself. In a world that moves at breakneck speed, patience often feels like a forgotten virtue, something we know we should have but struggle to cultivate. Yet, within Stoic philosophy, patience is more than just waiting. It's a profound act of acceptance and resilience. The Stoics believed that life unfolds according to nature's timing, not ours, and that resisting this flow only leads to frustration and suffering. Patience, in this sense, is about aligning ourselves with the natural order of things, trusting that what is meant to happen will happen when the time is right. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most influential teachers, once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." This simple yet profound statement reminds us that anything of lasting value, whether it's personal growth, relationships, or even inner peace, requires time and effort. Patience isn't passive, it's an active choice to endure discomfort, delay gratification, and remain steadfast in the face of uncertainty. It's about finding strength in stillness, even when the world around us demands instant results. Think about the areas of your life where impatience tends to creep in. Maybe it's waiting for a career breakthrough, mending a strained relationship, or even mastering a new skill. Where could you practice more patience? The Stoics would argue that these moments of waiting are opportunities to exercise our inner resilience. By embracing patience, we not only reduce unnecessary stress, but also open ourselves to the possibility of deeper understanding and growth. Patience also teaches us to let go of what we can't control. When we stop trying to force outcomes, we free ourselves from the anxiety of unmet expectations. Instead, we learn to focus on what we can influence: our mindset, our effort, and our willingness to adapt. This shift in perspective is at the heart of Stoic wisdom, reminding us that true peace comes from within, not from external circumstances. So the next time you feel the urge to rush or resist, pause and ask yourself, what would patience look like here? How can I align myself with the natural flow of life rather than fighting against it? By cultivating this virtue, you'll find that patience isn't just a tool for coping. It's a pathway to unshakable inner peace. What if living with less could bring you more peace? It's a question that might feel counterintuitive in a world that constantly pushes us to want more, achieve more, and accumulate more. But for the Stoics, simplicity wasn't just a lifestyle choice. It was a profound tool for cultivating freedom and clarity. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This idea cuts to the heart of what simplicity truly means. It's not about deprivation, but about liberation from the endless chase for things that don't truly matter. Think about it for a moment. How much of your mental energy is spent worrying about what you don't have, or what you feel you need to acquire? The Stoics believed that by stripping away the excess, we create space for what's truly important: our values, relationships, and inner peace. It's about focusing on the essentials and letting go of the distractions that pull us away from a meaningful life. So how can we start practicing simplicity in a practical way? One powerful step is decluttering, not just your physical space, but your mental and emotional spaces too. Start small. Clear out that drawer you've been avoiding, or take a few minutes each day to let go of things you no longer use. This act of releasing what no longer serves you can feel surprisingly freeing. Another way to embrace simplicity is by reducing screen time. The constant barrage of notifications, ads, and updates can leave us feeling scattered and overwhelmed. Try setting boundaries, like turning off your phone an hour before bed or designating tech-free zones in your home. These small changes can create more room for presence and calm. Simplicity at its core is about aligning your life with what truly matters. It's not about living with nothing, but about living without the unnecessary. By shedding the weight of excess, we lighten our load and open ourselves to a deeper sense of contentment. It's a practice, not a destination, an ongoing journey toward clarity and peace. And as you take those steps, you might just find that less truly does become more. gratitude is the antidote to discontent. It's a simple yet profound truth that has the power to transform how we experience life. When we focus on what we lack, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by dissatisfaction. But when we shift our attention to what we already have, we unlock a wellspring of inner peace and resilience. This is the essence of Stoic gratitude, a practice that trains the mind to see abundance even in the midst of challenges. One of history's greatest Stoic thinkers once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive." Imagine starting each day with that thought, not with a checklist of worries or a mental tally of what's missing, but with a deep appreciation for the gift of existence itself. This simple act of gratitude can rewire your perspective, helping you approach life with more calm and clarity. So how can you cultivate this mindset? Begin with a daily gratitude practice. It doesn't have to be elaborate, just a few moments each morning or evening to reflect on what you're thankful for. Maybe it's the warmth of sunlight on your face, the support of a friend, or even the lessons hidden in a tough day. The key is consistency. Over time, this practice builds a habit of noticing the good, no matter how small, and that habit becomes a shield against negativity. Gratitude isn't about ignoring life's difficulties. It's about acknowledging them while still finding reasons to be thankful. It's a way of reclaiming your power, of choosing where to direct your focus. And in that choice lies the foundation of unshakable inner peace. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in the moment, and it's a practice that aligns beautifully with Stoic principles of focus and clarity. The Stoics believed that much of our suffering comes from being distracted, caught up in regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. By anchoring ourselves in the present, we can cultivate a sense of calm and control, no matter what's happening around us. As Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This simple yet profound idea reminds us that clarity of purpose begins with being fully aware of where we are and what we're doing right now. So how can you bring this into your daily life? Start with something as basic as deep breathing. Take a moment to pause, inhale deeply, and let the breath ground you in the present. Notice the sensation of the air filling your lungs and the rhythm of your heartbeat. This isn't just about relaxation. It's about training your mind to focus on what's happening in this very moment, rather than being pulled in a dozen different directions. Another practical exercise is mindful eating. Instead of rushing through a meal or scrolling on your phone, take the time to truly experience the flavors, textures, and smells of your food. It's a small act, but it can help you reconnect with the present and appreciate the simple joys of life. Mindfulness isn't about escaping reality or avoiding challenges. It's about meeting the world as it is with a clear and steady mind. When you practice mindfulness, you're not just calming your thoughts, you're building a foundation for resilience and inner peace. And isn't that what Stoicism is all about? It's not about suppressing emotions or ignoring difficulties. It's about facing them head-on with a sense of purpose and presence. By embracing mindfulness, you're not only aligning with Stoic wisdom, you're giving yourself the tools to live more intentionally, one moment at a time. What would you do if fear weren't holding you back? It's a simple question, but one that can unlock a world of possibilities. In Stoicism, courage isn't just about grand acts of heroism. It's about facing the everyday challenges that life throws at us. Seneca once said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." Think about that for a moment. Just getting through the day, showing up for yourself and others, can require immense bravery. Courage, in the Stoic sense, is about taking action despite fear, not in its absence. It's about recognizing that fear is a natural part of life, but it doesn't have to dictate your choices. Imagine you're standing at the edge of a decision you've been avoiding. Maybe it's a difficult conversation, a career change, or even just setting a boundary with someone. Fear might whisper in your ear, telling you all the reasons why you shouldn't take that step. But what if, instead of listening to that voice, you acknowledged it and moved forward anyway? That's where courage comes in. It's not about ignoring fear, it's about refusing to let it control you. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. What's one fear that's been holding you back? Maybe it's fear of failure, rejection, or uncertainty. Whatever it is, identify it. Now, think about what you could achieve if you faced that fear head-on. Courage doesn't mean you won't feel afraid, it means you'll act in spite of it. And that's where growth happens. By confronting even one fear, you're not just building resilience. You're living in alignment with Stoic principles, embracing life's challenges as opportunities to strengthen your character. So, what's one thing you can do today to practice courage? The first step might feel small, but it's often the most powerful. Picture this. One of the most powerful men in history, sitting alone at night, writing reminders to himself about the importance of humility. Here was an emperor who ruled over vast territories, yet he consistently reflected on his own limitations and the need to stay grounded. The Stoics, from Epictetus to Seneca, placed immense value on humility, not as a sign of weakness, but as a cornerstone of wisdom and emotional resilience. They understood that pride often blinds us to our faults, while humility opens the door to growth and connection. Once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Think about that for a moment. When someone wrongs us, our instinct might be to retaliate to prove ourselves superior. But the Stoic approach is different. It's about rising above the pettiness, refusing to let someone else's behavior dictate our own. Humility here isn't about shrinking ourselves, it's about choosing a higher path. It's about recognizing that our true strength lies in our ability to remain calm, compassionate, and grounded, even in the face of adversity. Humility also has a way of deepening our relationships. When we approach others with a humble mindset, we're more likely to listen, to understand, and to empathize. Instead of insisting on being right or asserting dominance, we create space for genuine connection. Imagine how your interactions might change if you focused less on proving your point and more on understanding the other person's perspective. How might humility transform the way you handle disagreements or misunderstandings? Take a moment to reflect on this. How can humility improve your relationships? Whether it's with a colleague, a friend, or a family member, consider how letting go of pride and embracing humility could foster deeper trust and mutual respect. Humility isn't about diminishing yourself. It's about elevating the way you engage with the world and the people in it. By practicing humility, we not only grow as individuals but also create a ripple effect of understanding and harmony in our relationships. It's a quiet strength, one that the Stoics knew could change everything. How do your relationships shape your inner peace? It's a question worth reflecting on, because the people we surround ourselves with have a profound impact on our mindset, our growth, and ultimately our sense of calm. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't see community as just a nice to have. They saw it as essential to living a virtuous and peaceful life. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it simply, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." That's a powerful reminder. Our relationships should lift us up, challenge us to be better, and align with the values we hold dear. But let's be honest, not every relationship serves us in this way. Some connections drain our energy or pull us away from the path we're trying to walk. The Stoics would encourage us to take a step back and evaluate who we spend our time with. Are these relationships helping us grow? Are they built on mutual respect and support? Or are they holding us back, feeding negativity, or distracting us from what truly matters? This isn't about cutting people out of your life without care. It's about being intentional. It's about nurturing the connections that bring out the best in you and creating space for those who align with your journey toward inner peace. Think about it this way. Your community is like the soil in which you're planted. If the soil is rich and nourishing, you'll grow strong and resilient. But if it's depleted or toxic, even the strongest roots will struggle. The Stoics believed that true friendship and meaningful relationships were built on shared values, not just convenience or superficial ties. They saw these bonds as a source of strength, a way to practice virtues like kindness, empathy, and loyalty. And in today's fast-paced, often disconnected world, that idea feels more relevant than ever. So take a moment to reflect on your own relationships. Who are the people in your life who inspire you to be your best self? Who challenges you to grow, not through criticism, but through encouragement and example? And equally important, are you being that kind of person for others? The Stoics remind us that community is a two-way street. It's not just about what we receive, but also what we give. When we invest in meaningful connections, when we show up for others with understanding and support, we not only strengthen our own inner peace, but we contribute to the well-being of those around us. And isn't that what a life well lived is all about? Reflection is the key to growth and self-awareness. It's the quiet space where we pause to examine our actions, thoughts, and choices, and in doing so, we align ourselves with one of the most fundamental Stoic principles, the pursuit of inner clarity. As Epictetus famously said, "Know thyself." This simple yet profound idea reminds us that self-awareness isn't just a lofty goal, it's a daily practice, a habit of looking inward to understand who we are and how we can improve. So how does reflection fit into a Stoic lifestyle? At its core, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's within our control and to let go of what isn't. Reflection allows us to do just that. By taking time each day to review our experiences, we can identify where we reacted well and where we might have strayed from our principles. Did we act with virtue? Were we patient, kind, and resilient? Or did we let external circumstances dictate our emotions? These questions aren't meant to judge, but to guide us toward better choices tomorrow. One practical way to incorporate reflection into your routine is by setting aside a few minutes at the end of each day. Think about what happened, not just the events themselves, but how you responded to them. Did you handle a difficult conversation with grace, or did frustration take over? Did you stay true to your values, or did fear or anger lead you astray? This isn't about dwelling on mistakes, but about learning from them. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Another powerful practice is to set intentions for the day ahead. Before you begin your morning, take a moment to consider how you want to show up in the world. What virtues do you want to embody? How can you approach challenges with calm and clarity? By starting your day with purpose, you create a mental framework that helps you stay grounded, even when things get tough. Reflection isn't just a tool for self-improvement. It's a way to reconnect with what truly matters. It reminds us that life isn't about accumulating achievements or avoiding failure. It's about living with intention and integrity. When we reflect, we step back from the noise of the world and tune into our inner compass. And in doing so, we cultivate the kind of unshakable inner peace that Stoicism teaches us to pursue. So tonight, before you close your eyes, ask yourself, what did today teach me? And tomorrow, when the sun rises, ask, how can I live a little more wisely? Because every moment of reflection is a step toward becoming the best version of yourself. Let me ask you this, what does it mean to live wisely? Is it about making the right decisions, avoiding mistakes, or simply knowing more than others? For the Stoics, wisdom goes much deeper than that. It's the bedrock of all the virtues, courage, justice, temperance, and the guiding light that helps us navigate life's complexities. once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, the quality of our thoughts shapes the quality of our lives. Wisdom, then, is about cultivating thoughts that align with truth, clarity, and purpose. But how do we develop this kind of wisdom? It doesn't come from chasing quick fixes or relying on fleeting emotions. Instead, it's a lifelong practice of reading, learning, and reflecting. Think of wisdom as a muscle. It grows stronger the more we use it. Every book you read, every conversation you have, and every moment you spend in self-reflection adds a layer of understanding to your life. It's not about knowing everything. It's about being open to learning from everything. Consider this. When you face a challenge, do you react impulsively, or do you pause to consider the bigger picture? Wisdom teaches us to step back, to see the situation for what it truly is, and to respond with intention rather than emotion. It's the difference between being swept away by the chaos of life and standing firm, rooted in clarity. So where do you start? Begin by seeking out knowledge that challenges you. Read the works of philosophers, explore ideas outside your comfort zone, and take time each day to reflect on your experiences. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? How can I apply it tomorrow? Wisdom isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you build, one thought, one action, one day at a time. Letting go isn't just a concept, it's a practice, and one that the Stoics believed was essential for achieving unshakable inner peace. Think about it. How often do we cling to past mistakes, old grudges, or even things that simply don't align with who we are now? Holding on to the past can feel like carrying a heavy weight, one that keeps us from fully experiencing the present moment. The Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that our attachments, whether to outcomes, possessions, or even emotions, can become chains that bind us, keeping us stuck in cycles of suffering. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, put it this way: "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." What he's saying is that much of our pain comes from the stories we tell ourselves about what happened, what could have been, or what might go wrong. But what if we could loosen our grip on those stories? What if we could step back and see that many of the things we're holding onto no longer serve us, and maybe never did? Here's something to reflect on. What are you holding onto that no longer serves you? Is it a relationship that's run its course? A goal that no longer aligns with your values? Or maybe it's a belief about yourself that's holding you back. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means making space for what truly matters. It's about choosing to release what weighs you down so you can move forward with clarity and freedom. The Stoics didn't just talk about letting go, they practiced it. They understood that life is constantly changing, and trying to control or cling to what's already past only leads to frustration. Instead, they focused on what they could control, their own thoughts, actions, and responses. By releasing what's outside their influence, they found a deeper sense of peace and resilience. And you can, too, start small. Identify one thing you've been holding onto, something that no longer serves your growth or happiness, and take the first step toward letting it go. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. As we come to the end of this journey through the 25 Stoic mindset shifts, it's worth taking a moment to reflect on the profound power they hold when practiced together. Acceptance, resilience, and presence. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're tools for transforming how we experience life. Each shift builds on the last, creating a foundation of inner strength that remains steady, no matter what storms may come. Whether it's learning to focus on what's within your control, embracing discomfort as a teacher, or finding peace in the present moment, these principles work in harmony to cultivate a sense of unshakable calm. One of Stoicism's greatest voices once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This simple yet profound truth reminds us that our mindset shapes our reality. The thoughts we nurture, the perspectives we choose, and the habits we build, all of these determine how we navigate challenges and savor joys. The Stoic mindset shifts we've explored today are invitations to elevate the quality of your thoughts, to see life through a lens of clarity and purpose. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these mindset shifts resonated most deeply? Maybe it's the idea of accepting what you cannot change, or perhaps it's the practice of focusing on progress rather than perfection. Whatever it is, take a moment to consider how you can bring these principles into your daily life. Start small, but start today. Inner peace isn't built overnight, but with consistent effort, it becomes an unshakable part of who you are. If you found value in this exploration of Stoic wisdom, I'd love for you to join this community of seekers and thinkers. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What mindset shift are you most excited to try? And if you're eager for more insights like these, hit that subscribe button and let's continue this journey together. Remember, the path to inner peace begins with a single step, and you've already taken the first one. Thank you for being here and here, to living with greater clarity, courage, and confidence.